Hey, Commish, what's up?
James Patterson, my man.
Right.
It is good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Man, it's been a while since we've gotten to really sit down and kind of one-on-one like this, huh?
It has been a bit. What's going on, man?
So I need a favor.
Okay, anything. What do you need?
Anything. That's what I was hoping for. You need to be the one to tell him.
Not that. I won't do that.
You are the perfect guy, the mayor of the desk.
How am I? Well, I like that title.
Yeah,
Let's save that for later. But why am I the guy? I think like there's so many other guys that might be better suited for this.
You're like a mentor, a big brother on that desk. I see the way he looks at you, like his muse. This is gonna work out.
But I think that's the reason why I'm not. Think about that. That's going to destroy all the trust I've built in that kind of mentor-mentee relationship.
It's like being in the foxhole together. I mean, moved you apart. You guys are gonna bond even tighter over this experience.
Right, but what about all of these people? I mean, look. I mean, he could do it. He could do it. She could do it. Any one of them could go ahead and.
A whole building full of people that are not James Patterson. You're the guy.
I hate you so much for this right now. Okay, I will do this for you, Commish. I will do this for you. But I cannot go empty-handed. I can't just show up with nothing if I'm going to deliver this kind of news.
Way ahead of you. See, we call that a make good, and I, my friend, have a make good. You're gonna make him.
What is this?
King of the desk. You're the kingmaker. The king. There you go. All right. Thank you, Dash. Jimmy Crack.
So, I have some bad news. I was informed that unfortunately your stock portfolio cannot be aided by the stocks that you won. What? Just last week in our game show. Yes! There is some reasoning behind this as I come over to award you your crown upon further investigation.
I want my 69 stocks.
Upon further investigation,
Second place.
the stats team informed us that it would cause an undue inflation to the market if we introduced a whole bunch more stocks into the system. So I will crown you, as it says here, two. I don't know why it says this. Two hands LCS. So crowning the LCS analyst desk king, Mark Zimmerman. I declare you our LCS
Mark.
game show champion. Congratulations, my friend. I am very sorry about all this. I didn't want to be the one to tell you, but I had to be. With that. Week 7 starts with some striking roster swaps, and with the playoff race heating up, who can blame the teams in the soup for trying? That's the big question here as TSM making their way to the stage just moments ago, looking to challenge Cloud9 at the top of the day. Cosplay day, though, here at the LCS. Everyone has kind of adorned, Riv included there as Ezreal, and Mark has so graciously as well come suited up. Kobe, not to be forgotten here in Tryndamere. Probably, where's your cosplay?
Oh, I'm actually cosplaying as like the most hated thing in all of League of Legends. And I don't mean myself as head coach. I mean Mr. Baron Nashor.
Mr. Baron Nashor.
Everyone
wants to kill Look at
Everyone wants to kill me.
We
and
do.
I'll see you in 20 minutes, Dash, so good luck.
Okay, all right, 20 minutes. Don't expect anything out of Prolly until 5 minutes to go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LCS Countdown. 30 minutes, we say goodbye to the strongest turret we've ever known, and hear from the OG Dravenmain himself until the timer reaches 0 and we jump into Champions Select. There are only 3 weeks left in the regular season, and while Cloud9 still searches for that perfect split, the teams ranging from 3rd all the way to that 4-way tie for 6th, they're looking to secure a playoff spot. Unfortunately for TSM, their first game of the week is versus Cloud9. Then Dignitas try their new jungler, Acadian, as he faces off against Meteos and 100 Thieves, followed by Team Liquid versus CLG, and 2 more games before the end of the day. Now, after our weekend of games are done, tune into Monday Night League to finish out the week. Monday Night League will be followed by Bud Light League Lounge, where Licorice and Niski will be joining Avli and Riv for a night of fun and entertainment. Which leads us to our breaking news. from 4 days ago. Team Liquid has decided to start tactical over Doublelift for the second week in a row. Tryndamere, hit me with the hot topics.
That's right, James. We've got some exciting news here. Mark, I mean, this is big. Doublelift, 7-time LCS champion on the bench. What are your thoughts?
I mean, we all saw how good Tactical did. We're all like, wouldn't it be crazy if they benched him? Oh, they did. I mean, you can hear in this tweet how he talked about getting his teammates' trust back and stuff. I think there were probably larger internal issues around these kinds of things than we had known. And that's why when Tactical came in and did great, they're like, hey, we can just, you know, play with Tactical until Doublelift shows that motivation that we all see is lacking. And so I think everyone seems to be handling it pretty professionally, though, based off that tweet and Steve's and others.
Yeah, I mean, especially what we're used to with roster swaps. I mean, probably no stranger himself.
What are you talking about?
A little bit of drama there. Honestly, probably I'm coming to you next, though. Tactical had a really good performance. It's not just memes, you know, about replacing this guy. He worked really well with the team.
No, yeah, I think motivation is usually really understated. But I have to say, in week 2 when Broxa came in, I was expecting this is when Team Liquid kind of takes the throne again, and they start like reaching for those really clean games that they're known for. And once they brought in Tactical, that's what it seemed like. The whole team actually started playing way different, even though AD carry usually doesn't have that much agency in the game to impact. They kind of just completely changed overnight. So I'm excited to see how that TL goes on from here.
I love it. You know, all three of you are on-air talent when you guys actually lean into the
I was about to
microphone.
say the same thing.
That isn't actually doing anything for you. It's so brilliant. Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. But this is not the only roster swap taking place. While it may have dominated some of the headlines coming into the week, there's a couple other big ones. Huhi is in for Keith. Acadian in for Greg. We already stated that one. And then Wind in for Stixay and CLG. So thoughts on any of these kind of swaps and what they might do to save seasons?
I mean, the Acadian one is the one that I'm most interested watching because it feels potentially the most impactful. Everyone thinks Dignitas should be a playoff team, and they're 2-7 in their last 9, and a lot of the criticism has come to Greg for underperforming, and so this could be the jump that they need in the last third of the season to make playoffs.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I brought up on the dive because you look at the jungle for this team. Greg has had some good games with Dig, but it's when the entire team is based around playing around either Olaf, you know, with a bunch of heals on the team, or the whole team is helping him go for invades. And it seems like he is having a hard time translating solo queue success to, you know, LCS stage style play. The other ones, though, I mean, we had just started to get accustomed to Keith support, and now they're bringing in a Huhi. The timing on a lot of these does seem a little bit weird, but it seems like everybody wants to get these improvements in before it's too late for playoffs.
Yeah, I think if the standings looked wildly different, maybe we're a little bit more decided, less of these swaps would come in. But because there is so much, you know, competition right now for the final playoff spots, it makes a lot more sense to me that teams are really trying stuff. And while Doublelift is on the bench and he isn't the only staple, rather, that we have lost this split, it's time for us to officially say goodbye to Cloud9's mid-tier 1 turret. A 6-week lifespan for a League of Legends turret is a long life. That is a well-lived life that should be celebrated, I think, to its fullest.
Yeah.
I'm sad there weren't more highlights of it. You know, some of the
I'm waiting for, oh my God, a mid-tier 1 highlight reel? Oh, that would have been great.
I mean, it's the most sought-after turret. Herald kills it all the time.
Right?
Baron Buff will always kill it. So it's always dead. You always want to kill that mid-turret.
Yeah. I mean, it actually backs up a really good point, though, about how dominant Cloud9 has been for the LCS when their early game and their snowball has been so good that it took this long before any team even finished off the mid turret. It's crazy.
And they chose to give it up, too, in the end, right? They just let it go.
They didn't appreciate it for what it was.
The big question is, what else might C9 lose today? Would they lose a Baron, maybe? Who knows, maybe even the game or an inhibitor turret? The question is TSM able to pull off something like this, really?
Well, it's part of the reason why I'm excited for them to match up with TSM is because, remember, last time around, is one of the few hiccups where Cloud9 have actually made a mistake in the early game. TSM had the Renekton and Gragas for jungle mid. Blabber overforces, and that's the first time where we see Cloud9 actually losing out on one of those early skirmishes. And TSM had very controversial, but they've talked about focusing pretty much only on early game, not on scaling, not on later stages of the game. And that might actually cause some fireworks.
Yeah, but that's why I think C9 is so interesting for how dominant they are, because some teams like TAL in the previous years were dominant more in the mid to late game. They'd grind you out in laning phase, where then they would really, after laning phase, beat you down. C9 is dominant in the early game, and then even when things go wrong, in that TSM example, usually that's like the volatility of, oh, our mid jungle just got double killed. Mid's over, but it wasn't. You know, Nisqy found ways to still impact the game positively, which is why their dominance is so impressive.
Yeah, C9 is on the cusp, right? A couple more wins and they've done what no LCS team has done before here in North America.
Just a couple.
But this dominance it feels so much different than some of our previously dominant teams like TL, which fits more the bill you were talking about of like a late game scaling type of team.
Yeah, because usually consistency comes from how well you can play the game macro and like as a team. And early game is the only time where all the lanes are spread apart. There's so many more variables in the game, and that's the time where, every team actually gets to practice the early game. You know, mid-late game, you don't get that in scrims all the time.
That's true.
Early game, everyone gets to play. So the fact that they're winning every single early game is pretty surprising. Well, in the one against TSM that they lost, it actually didn't impact them that hard. They actually came back and were still able to make plays. So that kind of like dominance in the early game is really rare to see it so consistently.
It's intimidating, too, to come up against that and have the expectation that you're going to go down early against Cloud9. Now, this game itself, TSM versus Cloud9, I think would have been a much more exciting one on paper just a couple weeks ago when we were fresh off of TSM's 4-0 run. But they've continued to show us that inconsistency from week to week. And so now, again, it's looking more lopsided towards Cloud9.
Right, during the 4-0 run, that's also when all their drafts were popping off. You know, they're swapping Set into the jungle, they're putting Kion on top, and you're like, hey, this is the second best team in the league. Now that they've kind of shown that it's actually really inconsistent and whether their drafts land or not seems like kind of up to that week of prep, it does put a little bit of a damper on it for me about this is not the definitive second, third best team now. It's which TSM is showing up versus C9.
And I still think that it is important for TSM to try and use this draft flexibility. Maybe not the specific examples, because, you know, they've had the Maokai mid, Ornn mid, all this type of stuff. But if they can get winning lane matchups for themselves due to the flexibility, you know, switching stuff through to the jungle, changing the lane matchups, then that is your area to start, right? Everybody's looking at step one for how you try and combat Cloud9. I don't think that TSM is the team to try and say, okay, we'll weather the storm and scale for later, because their mid and late game has not been good. So you gotta go right out the gates, get some good lane matchups.
They need every advantage they can get in this game against Cloud9. Another reason why Cloud9 is so impressive is what individual decisions they make when they're not dominating. And Mark, I believe you are ready to show us what makes Licorice such a great loser, like you so gracefully lost your stocks.
Oh, don't bring it up.
Be graceful about it, Mark.
Let's stick with lane matchups. Like Kobe was saying about winning lane matchups, I want to highlight Licorice's game versus Dignitas, where he had to play Aatrox into Huhi's Lucian. It's a nightmare matchup, playing against Lucian top, and he had Ignite. And so I think it's really important to identify in that situation what you're trying to accomplish. Number one, don't die. You can give up CS, you can give up some turret plates, just don't die, because then you start losing XP and it becomes a bad snowball of giving more gold over to them. Second, you want to protect your turret as best you can to slow them down from being able to open the game up. And then third, get CS, get as much as you can, but you want to prioritize the other two first. And so when you look at the early laning phase, Licorice is super back, he's respecting him, he's saying, this is your wave, Huni. You know, you take as much of this farm as you want, and I'll be happy with what I can get. He doesn't avoid trading completely, and he makes sure to protect against the dive, because that's what's going to kill him. Not really this early trade, but when these waves start collapsing into his turret. Then he takes an early recall, understanding the most important thing is not dying. So I'm going to go get my farm, get my first item, and then I'm going to back and walk back to lane instead of TPing, so he can save it, one, if he needs to protect his bot lane, which is something Lucian cannot do, or it allows him to, if he does die, TP back and keep staying in the game. When he does finally get back to lane, he does a good job of staying in the brush and abusing vision. He knows Huni does not have a ward to put in here, so he stays in the brush, walks out, autos, saves his abilities. I know a lot of people might be tempted to shoot the W there or throw your long-range Q to grab that. Licorice is fine taking an auto attack for the 1 CS. He's prepared to trade back when Lucian does attack him. He has bone plating. You want to track all these things. While this is all happening and Grig's coming up to try and pressure this matchup, Blabber's not helping. This is something that's really important that people often don't see is, what's my jungler doing? A lot of top laners will be, oh my god, I'm under pressure, I'm getting dove, I'm getting harassed, come help me. Licorice is like, I'm fine, I'm gonna stay up here, I'm gonna last under the turret, I'll be safe, I have wards and stuff. You go get objectives on the other side of the map. And then when he sees his opportunities, you can't be passive. Lucian goes for a trade and he goes, I can go for a potential kill here. And they actually trade flashes and ignite favorably, and he's still able to hold on to his TP here. He backs all the way up to stay safe. During this time, again, Blabber is not helping him. He's helping the bot lane, and this is a more competitive play. You probably can't translate this to solo queue, but he's getting bot prio for an early swap to go top and get to the Rift Herald, and that'll swap him out of this bad lane matchup. He actually gets further ahead by helping bot lane, not by having the jungler help him. This is a huge part of competitive play because now he's ahead on the entire play, and when you see his bot lane, what are they doing on the top side? They're dropping Rift Herald, they're taking it down. So he's on, just protect the turret 1v2, and then his team is going to grab that. And then finally, trying to find the jungler when you think the dives are coming. He knows the wave is coming in, so he actually meets Grig beforehand to stop this from being a 2v1, and then he plays with vision really well. He's putting the ward in, he's seeing Lucian leave the jungle, so now I can go back in and harass Grig on this, I can steal that away, and then when Lucian comes back, I'm backing off again, and he's just wasting so much of Grig and Lucian's time up here while his team continues to make things happen on the other side of the map. So he was able to get his team massively far ahead while he ends up at a 20 CS deficit. It may not feel good to play, it may not look good on the scoreboard, no one's gonna, be like, wow, did you see that Aatrox performance usually? But that was one of the things that won his team this game, was how well he played on the weak side of the map. And so I really want to stress, don't die, make sure that you grab, protect your turret as best you can and grab any CS you can. It's very difficult to do, but those are the kinds of things at the high level that make the difference in losing matchups. So I hope you guys learned something or two there. Before we go, MasterCard is giving away a trip to the spring finals. There are 2 ways to win. Either purchase RP using your MasterCard or save that card in the league client. Both ways automatically enter you to win. The window to join the sweepstake ends this Monday, the 9th, so make sure to sign up now, get that set up, and then we'll be right back. Welcome back to the LCS Countdown. Just about 12 minutes away from that first game of the day. With playoffs on the horizon, I wanted to get each of your thoughts on who you think the Honda MVP frontrunners are right now in this very moment. Probably.
I'm going to go ahead and give one that no one would ever expect. I'm saying C9's Niski. I think he's been playing amazingly. He's been playing mid lane in a way where no other mid right now is actually playing this style where they're really moving and impacting the map. They're not really taking too much time in their own lane and actually spending most of their time doing these team plays. And he's actually one of the only Zoes, I'll give him credit for this, to actually flash into engage team fights. Where he's using his R flash to start, which is pretty rare.
Same thing with his Cassiopeia that you saw there. The mechanics on him have been really, really good.
Yep.
So I think that we definitely both agree as
We put
well.
Niski down as well. You got there
what
first.
copycat?
But I assume you want
and
more
that's
answers.
the end of our Honda MVP frontrunner segment. Because I'm going to make you guys choose somebody else, realizing that you would maybe put some weight behind Niski.
I'm going to go, again, Cloud9, but I'm going to go right
Good
behind
answer.
Niski. Blabber is a big part of controlling the river, allowing Niski to go for the roams that you're talking about, allowing Niski to affect the side lanes here. It's because Blabber is so aggressive, establishes dominance for Cloud9 very early on, and then again, on the mechanics, right there with Niski, winning out in a lot of these skirmishes versus every single team in the entire league. And Blabber himself, 82.4% win rate in the LCS, by the way.
Smurfing.
That's actual Smurf stats. If you see
In a pro league.
you see an account in Challenger, even you're like, wow, 84, that's
Right.
crazy. But in the LCS,
With over 30 games played too, right? It's a lot of times you see those stats, it's like, well, they played 4 games. So all they had to do was win 3 or 4, and it's like, no. This is with a large number of games, 82.4% win rate. Really solid for Blabber. We're going down here, down the line. What do we got?
I'm going with Sven, one of the new additions to the roster this split. I think Vulcan deserves a lot of credit for the improvement in the bot lane this season, but I do want to give a lot of it to Sven individually stepping up compared to his TSM level that we saw before. When we brought him over and it was, best bot lane in the West, all this hype, I do think he failed to live up to that a little bit on TSM, but he is completely delivering now. They're the best bot lane combination in the league. He's smashing everyone in every category, and he's doing it with unique new picks like the Senna, the fasting Senna and stuff like that. So I think he deserves a lot of credit for turning the narrative around with himself.
Makes sense that so many of the Cloud9 players are front runners in this conversation as they remain undefeated in the league, but there's a chance that they could ultimately split votes because all of them are making a case for MVP. So once again, I will challenge you. Below the Cloud9 roster, who are we looking for as maybe a dark horse in that MVP conversation? Probably once again to you.
Ironically, I'm gonna say Vulcan. I'm not sure what team he's on, but I would say he should be in the dark
ignored
horse.
him?
I'm pretty sure no one really is paying that much attention because there's so many stars on Cloud9. I think he's doing a great job, especially since Core JJ is usually in the MVP voting. This is the only support other than Core JJ that's been close to up there. So I'm pretty excited to say this is my current dark horse.
And somehow he's just snubbed Licorice. But moving on, Kobe, you're up next. Please just give me a non-Cloud9.
So yeah, if I'm understanding this correctly,
You can't say
I'm
Licorice.
supposed to say Licorice now?
Right, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say Power of Evil
Okay.
for a dark horse because when he and Ignar are added to FlyQuest, I think this is the most underrated offseason move that any of the LCS teams made. They completely changed how summer 2019 FlyQuest operated. Power of Evil knows exactly what he wants in game. He's giving them direction, and he also plays champions that people don't expect him to play from his history. The Rumble games were big, Kiana game as well. I think he's doing a lot to change the face of this team.
I'm going to take the other new addition that you're talking about, two of these great new players. I would say Ignar, just because there's a lot of tendencies that these players have had in the past about falling into more passive play styles that we've seen out of Santorin and Power of Evil at different times. I think Ignar has done an incredible job jump-starting and keeping them from falling into those again, as well as having an insane champ pool.
Each of these players only has a couple more weeks to make their case. We're going to step away, but before we go, this week the LCS is excited to highlight our partnership with Active Minds to help promote healthy habits in gaming and keeping a positive mentality. For more information on this program, as well as a great conversation about this from The Dive, check out activeminds.com/LCS. As we go to break, though, it's time to celebrate some cosplay, and we want you at home to weigh in on who wore it better. Spam chat with Draven or Tyler1.
I'm the real Draven. You know who to vote for.
Welcome back to another week of the LCS stock market where the guys will buy, not win, some team stock. Let's take a look at the team's stock value and their trajectory week over week so far to get a sense of the landscape of the stock market itself. No surprise that Cloud9 continues to climb up the table, up over 700 at this point in terms of a price point. Next team isn't even above 600, so they are just creating massive separation in the market as of right now. But with so many teams close together in the middle of the pack again, it seems like there is room to gain ground if people make the right choices. As leader of the stock market, though, probably, due to recent news, I'm going to go ahead and go to you first.
Is that me?
Get us started. Is that you, man, at the top?
Yeah,
You
I didn't
can't
really
bring
mean
my
to.
spirits. I have a plate.
That's
Yeah,
my boy
your
right
plate is
there.
pretty great.
LCS.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm changing my strategy a bit. I had Cloud9 all year.
Okay.
I'm selling that, selling at a high. And I think this is Team Liquid's turnaround. I think Tactical's in. I think they're looking good. So I'm going 8 into Team Liquid, and I got 1 left over.
Oh,
I'm gonna pass that to FlyQuest. My nice.
they get
second
your
place.
pity stock?
They get my little pity stock right there. Cloud9. Oh, I had enough for Cloud9? All right, I got 1 in Cloud9.
I don't
baby.
know.
Just cheat.
Wow,
All right, apparently I don't know how to do math.
For a man with the most money, you don't do a very good job of keeping track of your money.
Yes.
It's a little worrisome. Down the line to Kobe and Mark Z, we're indexing into TL here. Do you guys have similar faith?
I'm second place right now. How am I supposed to pass Prawley if he picks the same as me? I still am keeping all Team Liquid.
Yep.
Because similar reason for Prawley. Their upcoming schedule, I think they should be able to win. They're looking so much better.
But Kobe, you have 9 TL. He only has 8. So if TL goes 4-0 and Cloud9 drops a game or something, you might snag
Cloud9's
it right
gonna lose.
back. What? No,
little faith.
you mostly divested. Mark, finish us off here.
I
What
have
do you
Team
got?
Liquid too.
He's also got Team Liquid. Mark is so done with this game now.
After I've been lied to, it's just kind of hard to get up for it.
That's so amazing to me. Well, of course, all these teams are going to have to make moves today as we take a look. Where are you going, Crowley?
I was
Where
gonna
were you
go
headed?
steal a couple more stocks over there. I saw some on the ground, and I was making a mad dash. But it's all right. I'll get them later.
Let's take a look at predictions. A minute 30 to go until game 1 of the day. Let's see where you guys are throwing your votes. Cloud9 takes the cake here at the top of the day for all of you. We've got some discussion to be had between Dignitas and 100 Thieves. And while I'm sure y'all have your reasonings, what I'm more interested in is our friend here who's joined us on the desk and how he reconciles your predictions for the day. Draven won. What are your predictions today? How are these guys going to do as compared to?
Did you pick C9?
Did you
Yes.
pick C9? They
Yeah.
all picked C9.
Hey, that's correct.
That's
Did
a
you
good
pick
start.
Team Liquid?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
That's right up there. What about FlyQuest?
FlyQuest?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the
Woo!
last one would be Dig or 100 Thieves. I think that's a tough one.
I picked Dig.
You picked
me.
Dig.
Yeah!
You both picked Dig.
Wait.
All right, Tyler, why or Draven, sorry, Draven. My bad, it's a slip of the tongue there. Why is it that you have faith in Dignitas over 100 Thieves?
You know, because I really like Johnson. Being a former 80 carry myself.
A former.
I understand how hard the role is. So to be a new player, new 80 carry, get in there with confidence. Woo!
That's tough.
I like it.
And the quick response here for 100 Thieves, because you're the only one who voted for it.
Yeah. I don't know. Dig's playing with a new jungler, man.
He's got nothing on.
I think it's hard.
Draven. With that, though, Cloud9 TSM hitting the rift in just a moment, so we're going to toss it out to the battle arena for the call. Draven, thank you so much for being here.
Analyst Desk, Draven, thank you all very much. I am Clayton Captain Flowers Reigns, joined by a man who needs no introduction, but gosh darn it, I'm going to give him one anyway. Mr. Joshua Jat Leesman joining me here today for TSM versus C9.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Flowers. And every time these two teams play, it is always exciting. It actually is a fairly big rivalry, but we were talking during rehearsal, Cloud9 has double TSM